Wonder what we're going to find under here. This pan is not looking in great shape at all. So I'm going to go ahead and change the oil. I hope it holds together. Otherwise I might have to get a ride home. Hey, my name's Adam. Welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we get to take a look underneath the 2010 B8 Audi S4. If you watched the last video, we took a look around the outside of the cars and we did a cold start. So we compared a straight through exhaust with a stock exhaust, and oh my goodness, was there a difference. It was terrifying. I don't want to press this button, but I'm going to. But in today's video, we need to do some regular maintenance on this 2010. One of the priorities is to change the oil. I want to send off an oil sample for the engine oil to see what sort of condition the engine is in, and also do the same and change the oil and filter on the DSG, so the Audi DSG, the famous DL501. It actually turns out it's the same transmission, or at least a similar model, that's in the RS5. So if you've seen it, there's also a 2013 B8 RS5 on the channel, and that thing is gorgeous. So one of the things I'm going to do is just show you how easy it is to do this job. I won't repeat everything I did in the RS5 video. So I have already done a DL501 oil change in that video. So I will reference that at the appropriate point because I don't want to repeat myself on the channel. But I'll just show you how easy this is to do at home. Now, yes, I've got a lift. I'm very fortunate. For years though, I have been working on jack stands. So whether it be in the street or on a driveway or in a garage at times, but working on jack stands is definitely a thing, and this job is easy on jack stands. The really interesting thing is going to be comparing how much Audi wanted for this job. So stick around at the end. I'm going to show you or share with you how much I paid to do this, but also then how much Audi wanted to do exactly the same thing. You might be surprised. As many of you know though, back to that transmission, this transmission is a bit of a failure spot on these cars. So the mechatronics unit is something that will fail if you do not change your oil, your transmission oil, frequently. And by frequently, Audi recommended in the end that it was done at 35,000 miles. So after the first 35,000 miles, the transmission oil had to be changed, and then every 45,000 miles. Before I get the car on the lift, just show you that I've put this black and yellow tape on the floor underneath where the arms would be. This is really important because I may have left a can actually on the floor when I lowered the lift recently. Wasn't good. So we'll go ahead and take the covers off in just a moment, but let's go ahead and look at what we're working with. As you can see, the suspension is fairly corroded. You can see that surface rust. So like I say, salt belt car, not entirely surprised. The bushings, however, are a little bit toast. So you can see there how much that arm's moving, and this one is even worse. And you can probably see just in there how bad it is. But those for sure need replacing. So all of the control arms need to be replaced. What else have we got? The plastic, I'm actually surprised the plastic is intact. It looks like it's the original exhaust too. Can't see any leaks as yet, or any big ones, which is nice. A little bit of the plastic missing. Oh, look at that subframe. Wow. Okay, yeah, salt belt car. So it looks to be intact, but that is, as long as I can't punch holes in it. Oh, it feels fairly solid. I think we're good. If not, I guess we can always get a new subframe. For how cheap this car was, that is always a possibility. Oh man, look at that shock. That's incredible. See all that corrosion. I'm amazed that's actually still working. Maybe it's not. Actually doesn't drive too bad. But again, even on the aluminum A-arms, you can see the corrosion. The exhaust, I'm really surprised by the exhaust. It is still in one piece. Okay, needs a clean. Looks like it may have never been cleaned. But yeah, just check that out. So not too bad. Ah, yes. The one thing in question. So to make you aware, this does not have a sport stiff. And so that is one of the questions throughout the next year we're going to be answering. Do we need a sport stiff? I think the general idea is yes, but I want to prove that for sure. So it's actually good that this doesn't, and also contributes to why it was only 3.5 grand, because the sport stiffs themselves can be very expensive. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's even got good tire tread. Overall, I'm actually pretty happy, which is surprising to say for something with that much rust. Oh, and yeah, a little bit on the front bumper. That happens. Oh, that one's quite bad. But that's okay, we're tracking this thing, remember. Okay, so time to take the covers off and delve in to see what's underneath there. So you need to go ahead and change the oil. That pan isn't actually looking in great condition, but it'll be fine for the time being. I'm surprised there's no leaks. You can tell this was up in a salt belt area, just like even this cross member. Look how rusty it is. That's gonna have to be replaced at some point. And then the most terrifying thing, because I've got to do this today as well, is this pan is not looking in great shape at all. So I'm going to go ahead and change the oil. I hope it holds together. Otherwise I might have to get a ride home. But just check that out. This is bad. I don't think it's ever been off. Okay, so this isn't necessarily good. It looks like there is a leak. So you can see there between the transmission and the engine, there is oil dripping. Now the oil looks like it's coming from down the side. I can't see how high up it goes. It could be from that axle, or it could be the rear main seal, or it could be from the top of the engine, because it's also there, which you can see. So yeah, I mean, it's coming higher up. I hope it's not the rear main, but if it is, we'll take care of it. Look how corroded this X-brace is though, so that's gonna have to be replaced at some point, although I'm likely to replace the other one, so I might just borrow that one. And here's a closer up of the bushings. You can see that they are toast, so that needs to be done. But before I do that and disable the car, because it is driving at the moment, I want to go ahead and just work out what this leaks from and take care of everything up above. Okay, let's get to it. Time to see how bad this oil is. That actually came out a lot easier than expected. They normally actually suck the oil out of these cars, so I wonder if it's ever been changed like this. But look how black that is. That is horrible. Okay, so whilst the engine oil is still draining, we can go ahead and start on the transmission, the DSG. It's gurgling. I am going to filter this one though. It's probably, I don't know, got a funny feeling it might never have been done. I need to capture all this oil to know how much to put back in. Actually, it looks really good. Now, of course, I should have undone the drain first. That would help it flow as well. There we go. That's better. Now we can see how it looks. So whilst that's draining, we can go ahead and remove this brace. This is an 18. Oh, this one's not even done up. It's finger tight. Wow. Hey. Now, before I go too much further, there's a pipe attached to the power steering rack just here, which needs to come off the X-brace at the back. Could be a 10. With that released, so anything going into aluminium, always loosen it first by hand. Pretty sure this pan has been on here for 90,000 miles. No, 115,000 miles. What am I talking about? So it doesn't look too bad, and it doesn't look like any of the bolts have actually loosened. That was a failure point on this transmission. There's a TSBR link below, just in case you're wondering. Next thing to do is get this filter out, and a lot more fluid will come. Hey. So the pan itself looks very, very good, apart from obviously the edge down here that is outside the seal. This is where it's rusty. So we'll look at that more closely in a minute. But the oil looked good. I think it actually looked better than the RS5, but I can check that because I have a video on that. These magnets, just look at that. I don't think the RS5s looked quite as good as that. Now, I'll show you what happens. I clean it and it looks like that. I think the RS5s were worse. I think they were black. So you can see there the metal that has been picked up, but we just need to clean this now. So you can see there how much metal is on those magnets, and that metal is the thing that causes the mechatronics to fail, which is why it's important to change the oil regularly. Look how close this was to an oil leak in a couple of different spots. So this is actually part of the pan coming away, rusty. Yeah, I'm not sure if this pan's going to work. You can see there where the seal is going to have to go, but there's hardly any paint. We can give it a go, that's all we can do, but I've got a funny feeling I'm gonna have to order a new pan. So this is how bad it is. You can see here where the rust and corrosion has actually gone the other side of where the seal was. So what I'm gonna do is end up just using some sandpaper, rub this all down. Definitely not recommended, but I'm actually gonna put some sealant on this side, not on the transmission side, but just on this side, because I wanna be able to drive home today. But with this much corrosion on this pan, it's just not worth risking. I've had to make these as smooth as possible, but get rid of any trace of rust. Because the rust, basically, even with the silicone sealant, it will actually creep through the rust. So now I've given it a surface for both the gasket and the sealant to latch hold of. I'm actually going to apply the sealant to the underside of the gasket, and I'll show you that, just because I don't want any getting into the pan. At least this way I'll know if the mechatronic system needs replacing. So I can drive it like this, work that out, and then go from there. So this is where the gasket needs to go. I'm just going to flip it over and then put a bead of silicone around the outside of the gasket. And there it is, ready to go in. So there's just some basically gasket maker or black sealant behind the actual rubber seal itself. Time to throw it on the car. And then all I'm going to do is watch my own video to work out exactly what to torque it to and every other step that needs doing. Okay, so conveniently, there are chapters in here. So for example, if you want to do the external filter and install, which this transmission doesn't have, but the 2015 does, you could just click on that. Now, I wanted to do the oil pan install and torque, which is at 1342. So just click on that. With the filters done, it's now time to take the pan and get it located into place. Look at that. I'm going to hold it up there with just a couple of fasteners. So these are new. So check out the rest of that RS5 video. It goes into all the details about putting the filter back in, getting that pan back on, replacing all the bolts, the torque for the bolts, everything like that. It goes through the external filter, which, as you've seen on this one, it doesn't have. So every DL501 is slightly different, and they probably have different tunes and stuff, but you get the idea, right? All the details though are in there about how to get the pan and everything back together. It also covers the bleeding procedure. So the bleeding procedure on here, you have to use something like Audi 11 to work out what temperature the transmission is. You have to run the engine. All the details are in the video. I don't want to repeat things on the channel, but the video is there. It's down in, I'll put a link down below. Go and check it out because it's got everything you need there. However though, I do want to check out the condition of this oil as always, and I will get a Blackstone report done. So let's go and check that out. So this is the oil out of the DSG, and it actually looks really good. It looks a little bit dark. I mean, you can see where it's shallow over there, how it's not too bad, but it's not full of metal flakes. I mean, you can see just that streak there. Hopefully that comes out. There is a streak that, there, you just see it? There's a streak just there. And that looks like either from the drain plug or the filter or something, so it's not actually too bad. So the oil has been draining all this time, but just look how black that is. It's horrible. I'll look in a minute to see if there's actually anything in there. I don't think there is, but I also didn't filter it right from the beginning. Time to throw in a new drain plug and gasket. Everything under here is so rusty. Torque it to 22 foot-pounds. And then conveniently, like the RS5, the oil filter is up here. And what we're going to find under here. One very dirty oil filter that has not been changed in a while. Look at that. Ugh, it's actually red. Couldn't tell that to begin with. So it looks like the filter comes with two gaskets. One of them I can see in here. You can see that little tab there. So that needs to come out. So I'm just going to take a pair of needle nose pliers, grab that, and that just pulls out. You can see the channel it sits in down there. The other one then sits at the mouth of the part on the engine, so I'm just going to use a pick to get in behind it, and you can just see it there. Comes off. So just going to clean this surface up. Then I'm just going to slip the new O-ring over and make sure it fits into that hole. Coat the new gasket. What that does is just drop straight down into that channel. Just make sure it's seated. Take the new oil filter, goes over and pushes down till it clicks. Then this can screw back on and it gets torqued to 25 Newton meters. Probably forgot to say that this is a 36mm. And there it is, done. Time to fill it with oil. It's amazing how many of these parts are interchangeable between the RS5 and the S4, which means I get to use a really handy sealing funnel. Watch how convenient this is. There's a quart. Whoever came up with this idea is a genius. I think every owner should have one. Squeeze it. There you go, Adam. Easy. 6 quarts in to potentially 6.7 or 7 quarts. Unfortunately, you can't check the oil level using a dipstick because these cars didn't come with it. However, I say that you can't, you can if you get a dipstick. So ECS Tuning do sell one, and it just so happened to come on the 2015 car. So let's use that to work out where we're at. So it's just registering at the bottom. Okay, the oil's done. I've already done the transmission oil. I've changed that, I've finished that. Like I say, go and watch the video if you need details on that one. So there you go. The oil and transmission have been properly serviced. And I promised to let you know how much Audi was going to charge for this job. So when I called them to get a quote, conveniently, there is a 115,000 mile service. And it does include some other things like spark plugs, so I'll take that into consideration because I haven't done those yet. I'm waiting to do the supercharger service as well as the intake service. But anyway, regardless, so a 115,000 mile service, which includes basically transmission oil, cabin filter, air filter, and the engine oil. They wanted, wait for it, comment below, $2,000. That is ridiculous. I mean, you can see how long it took. It probably took, what, a couple of hours to do? Okay, you've got to bleed it. And yes, you need OBD11, as you saw in the other video, to be able to do that properly. But $2,000, oh my goodness. So that was how much Audi wanted. What did I pay then? So I needed DSG Fluid. It took 6 quarts at $110.32. I needed to replace all those pan bolts. That's really important every time at $13.35. We've got the trans filter O-ring at 89 cents. We've got the drain plug washer at $1.59. We've got the drain plug itself at $5.29. We've got the trans filter at $24.49 and the trans pan gasket at $43.99, taking the transmission service total up to a staggering whopping $199.92. Cheap as chips. So continuing with the list then, we've got the trans service that we've just gone over. We've got spark plugs at $93.54. I will do those in a future video. We've got the cabin air filter at $14.39. We've got the engine air filter at $25.29, again in a future video. And then we've got the engine oil kit. As you saw, we changed the engine oil today at $84.15. That brings a total for this service that Audi wanted $2,000 for down to a staggering $417.29. Saving a total of $1,582.71. That's crazy. So I'm hoping this video helps you, because you can do this comfortably in any garage. It's not a hard job. You just got to take your time, and the first time it always takes a little bit longer, like it did for me on the RS5. But $2,000, that's crazy. Alright, with this many miles, I would be surprised if the intake valves do not need cleaning. So quick sneak peek into what's coming up on the channel, but I really hope you've enjoyed watching today's video, and if you have, don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks guys, have a great day.